red thing pop up. And when you do, that means we are live. This shit's fire. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another live Pin to Gas podcast on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon, right? And ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited about this. It's been a long time coming. But before we get into that, this episode is sponsored by Next Level Financial. Take control of your financial future. Get your complimentary financial analysis today by Seth Starnes. He's an absolute legend. Many people already know who he is. It's absolutely, listen, it's painless. It's easy. Everybody should do it. Trust me. And second, Burch, I tell everybody this. Don't spend your hard-earned money on an off-the-rack suit. Why do I say that? Because it's not going to fit you perfectly. 95% of us anyway, it's not going to fit you perfectly. When you have a suit that does not fit you perfectly, it causes all kinds of writing issues, right? I mean, I don't want to go into them all, but there's a lot. When you can spend that money on a full custom suit, go to bisontrack.com. It's super easy. It's simple. Robert and Tasha and their son Carter and Edith are absolutely some of the most amazing people you're ever going to meet in your life. The products are super amazing. They really are. All you got to do is go to MotoAmerica paddock and walk around, and you'll see so many racers and riders, dude, for real, in Bison suits. And there's a reason for that. Yes. Super simple. You pick the colors: perforated, non-perforated, kangaroo, cowhide, chest protector, the
Put
whole
logo on there.
Right? They even got new boots out too. Dude, listen, we need to talk about that, me and you, because I want to run K-Tech on my next shirts. But anyway, we'll talk about that. But yes, listen, bisontrack.com. I don't know what you're waiting on, but listen, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a long time coming, and it's an absolute honor to sit down with the K-Tech specialist legend himself, Burch Wadewitz. What is up, my man?
What's up, Simcoe? Yeah, it's been a long time. How long?
Man, it's since Daytona.
Yeah, since about Daytona. I think you asked me, and we just been flat out all year long. But been a really good year, both on and off the track. So I'm glad we can finally sit down, though, and I'm glad I'm here, of all places, to be able to do it. So I guess being displaced a little bit is okay. This is a good setting for it.
Absolutely. Everything happens for a reason when it happens, right? I feel like if you force stuff and it happens because you really want it to happen, it's not the same, right? So we even try to set this up, people live at the MotoAmerica race, but it's when you're there, he's so busy with what he's got to do, you know, and I'm running around running my mouth. But even at the end of the day, it's so noisy. We just never really got a chance to sit down and do it, but here we are. Yeah.
Too. We'll be in the middle of nowhere, like the Ridge or something. Bad Wi-Fi.
Right. And everybody knows that the racetrack there's not very good internet anyway, because everybody's using it, right? So
I got my little 5G block right here. This is what we take to the races, but even still, some of those places we go, it's hard. So not a lot of billing gets done, just a lot of note taking.
Yeah, right. I'm surprised you guys don't have Starlink, right? You can just take it with you and set it up.
That's what we need next. Yeah, that would be cool. Elon
Musk, right? But yeah, so listen, bro, dude, we got a lot to talk about. There's no way we're going to touch base on it on this part one, so we'll definitely do a part two. But dude, Burch, how did you get into two wheels from the earliest age?
Man, I guess my story is a little bit different. You know, I'm not like the rest where I kind of grew up playing sports a lot. I was always that friend that would go to my friend's house to ride their bikes or their four-wheeler or whatever it was. So I probably did that from, 7 to up into high school, maybe 15 or 16. Always had a mountain bike and was like really into BMX. So I liked two wheels, but never had the motor part. So never really had the money for one. And my mom was a nurse, so she was very against that for a long time. And when I finally did get a bike, I was coming out of high school, graduated, got money to go get a car. And I was kind of telling my dad, with my grandpa's, help, I was like, I want a bike. I want to get a bike. And I made him a whole PowerPoint about, the benefits, and I'll run the groceries for him or whatever it takes. I just want a bike. I had a few friends in high school that got street bikes, so I got to test around and ride those when I was probably 17 or 18. Immediately knew I wanted a street bike, or just anything. So ended up getting a Kawasaki ZX6, which I still have. It's over here in the corner. You can't see it, but that's like my full track or race bike now. And yeah, it kind of just started from there. Learned, like I said, when I was younger, just being at friends' houses, but took to the streets pretty quickly. And I already had some friends that had bikes, and I had a really good mentor in my hometown in North Carolina. His name's John Faddick. We kind of hit it off, and he taught me a lot about bikes mechanically and riding. And so I spent a lot of my summer after high school with him. And then when I went to college, I could only ride it here or there, not as much as I'd like to. I'd bring it up when I could, but being in the mountains, it would get snowy and cold, and I just didn't want to keep it out there. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. But always been a bicyclist, I guess you could say. Started, and now I'm motorcycle.
Yeah, and you're actually at the K-Tech headquarters in New York right now.
Yes, yeah, it's pretty surreal. I've been here for a couple of weeks. So the story to that is, after NJMP, being from Asheville, we got pretty wrecked with the Helene storm. So I actually couldn't get home originally. During the races, I had seen something online, and then I tried to call like both my parents, my brother, my girlfriend. Everyone's phones was off, so it was really weird. And it was, I knew something was wrong, but I wasn't sure how bad it was. So go through the race weekend, not getting in contact with anyone. It's kind of scary. We're leaving Sunday night, and I'm finally getting some texts. Everyone's okay. Bring us some water, bring us some gas, etc. So I make my way down there, but coming from New Jersey, the only way to get into my hometown was from the south. So I had to go all the way around. Ended up detouring. I had to go into South Carolina, so I went to Myrtle Beach, stayed there with my girlfriend for a couple of days until we went back to our place to see how it was. Got back, place was a complete mess. No water or power anywhere, pretty much on our whole grid, 3 different counties. It was really bad. And I was there 12 days later, and even 12 days later, tons of trees down, tons of, just power lines down, dirt all over the roads, still water, sitting water, standing water. So it was like, wow, we need to get out of here. I can't stop working. A lot of cell towers were down too. So I had to come here at some point. Like I said, my bike's back here. We've been working on it, getting it ready. So I just thought I'd come up and hang out. My boss has been super cool about me staying. And I've just kind of been up here for 2.5 weeks now, just working and getting a lot of stuff done from the headquarters. It's easier to work here, From home, it's different, or from the racetrack, it's different. But being around the tools, the products, the pieces, I can go in and out of, sales or on the phone a lot, put my hands on stuff, answer questions. So it's been really good.
Dude, I love it. And you've had an epic journey to where you are now. We'll get into the whole suspension K-Tech side here in a second. We actually got a couple comments coming in, and the first one we got is from Zach. What is up, Zach? He says,
That's my boy Zach. So we go to NCM a lot. He just sold his bike and he got a Triumph. He's got stock suspension. But with that comment, Zach, I don't know if I can help you out now, man. Come on.
Yeah, you better watch out, Zach.
Actually, Zach, here you go.
There it is. Look at that beauty. Look at it.
There you go. Come get it, Zach. Retail.
I love it. Retail, Zach, you heard. Nah, I'm just joking, dude. That's awesome. And then we have Ron. What is up, Ron? He says, what's up, guys? What's up, my man?
Ron, my man, the fast old man at the track. That is my boy.
I love it, man. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. We got another legend in the house, Jesse Davis. He said that dude always answers almost all of my annoying questions.
Hey, you can always call me. I'm always available.
That's right. That's right. I'm sure you stay super busy too, but like I said, I can't wait to touch base. I just wanted to get to a couple of these comments. And then Dan says neither of us are as slow as Ron. And Ron says Butch is not as slow as Dan. I love it, man. Oh my God.
Those are both some local guys that we go to the track with a lot, with PRE, Performance Riding Experience. They're cool. Check them out.
Yeah, I actually met Dan. Dan's absolutely amazing human being. I need to actually shoot him a text message. I've been meaning to. But I met him at, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, I think it was MotoAmerica this year. And I think we was over there at Eddie K's Pitt when I actually met him.
Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie's my dude, man. Yeah, he's awesome.
He's cool. I like him. He's funny.
He is. And listen, we have, dude, absolutely he is. We got another legend, dude. Everybody knows. I talk about it all the time. Chef Eats. I don't know what you guys are sitting on or waiting on. Go to chefeats.com. Get the most amazing meals you can get.
Thank you,
But
Chef.
anyway, dude, I'm telling you, Jeff says, Zach Bevan, you don't talk about your boy like that. Oh man,
He's got my back. Let's go. Best meals out there. I love Jeff's meals. He gave me a bunch and kept me fed at Daytona and just never asked for anything. Every single one. I said, man, just give me, something different. Everything was bomb.
Dude,
I like the salmon though. Salmon is actually good.
I haven't had the salmon yet. Yeah, I haven't had the salmon. I mean, that's like with anything I've done Fresh and Lean, Home Chef. I mean, I've tried a lot of them, right? Just because it's convenience, easy, yada, yada, yada. And 90% of the time, 95% of the time you get chicken and steak, it's just right? Because it's like rubber.
No, his is good. And I know he says you got to add the salt and stuff. No, I thought it was seasoned perfect, spice perfect. So
yeah, absolutely. So big shout outs. And then my man Bobby Levitt says, "What's up, fam? What is going on, Bobby?"
What's up, Bobby?
Bobby's that dude, man. So yeah, listen, dude. So getting into motorcycles, how did you get into track days?
So same guy that I talked about earlier, John Faddick, kind of drugged me to a track day with my friend at the time who had a Ducati. And we didn't know what we were getting into. We had the full suits and we had just started really riding on the track. We would go to the Tail of the Dragon a lot just because, squidding it up and not understanding what the track would bring, But when I did go, I was immediately hooked. I went to CMP. I think I went back-to-back weekends or we went with him. And then he was thinking about going again, but he was my ride. He had the trailer. And I think I was like, hey, we got to go. So it was funny how quick it flipped to, just me wanting to go. And it was still a street bike at the time. So then I rode on the track a little bit here and there and then ended up, I wanted to ride. So I didn't want to just make it a track bike because I really love riding. So I was able to get a street bike. I got a GS Adventure 1200. So as soon as that was being secured, I immediately was like, okay, I can go out all out on this track bike. And at that time I was actually getting my first motorcycle job too. So it worked out, getting discounts on parts and not feeling like I was going over the top. And it wasn't stuff I didn't need, right? It wasn't crazy electronics or anything, but just, fairings. And I actually hadn't thought about suspension before, until the job thing happened. So that's funny how it worked. But the GS is like my all around, do everything. I love riding that too, just because in North Carolina, we got a lot of service roads and now sadly the parkway is closed, but we used to ride the parkway all the time, just find service roads off the parkway and ripping on these big adventure bikes, me and my really good friend, Andrew Baber. And we just throw knobbies on them and we just go explore. So if the gates open, we go. And so it's fun to just go out and not really have a destination. So we do that a lot, but that allowed me to go to the track only. And then just started doing a ton of track days. And I think that first summer we went, excelled through the groups pretty quick. And then that's when I was like, okay, if I want to do this more, I need to save some money. And then I also need to, put my mind into it. Cause I was showing up, no tools, no tire warmers at that time, nothing to get me through the day if something minor happens. So it was like every year that got a little bit better and a little bit better to where I can go to the track on my own. I have a lot of friends that go. So now it's nice wherever I go, I have someone, but it's not like, hey, do you want to go with me? Or, how it originally started. And that's what I love about the community too, just with both jobs I've had and just being at the track and talking to dealers or retail customers like, hey man, I love to ride too. Like, oh, you're going to the track this weekend? Where are you going? And usually it's someone here on the East Coast. And yeah, meet a lot of people and just spend laughs together outside of work. And that's like my favorite thing to do, no matter what it is. So I got a dirt bike too. We do mini moto stuff. I mean, yeah, you name it. We do it all. So
I love it, man. And it's nothing like, dude, I remember those days, right? You show up, you just get into track days, you show up, you have no fucking clue. I didn't have tire warmers. I didn't have no spare tools. I didn't have none of that. Look who showed up. My man Rossi. What is up?
What's up?
What's up? Did you eat all your Chick-fil-A? Man, dude, this dude right here, Burch, I'm telling you, man.
Spicy
You wanna say hi to
deluxe.
everybody.
Best thing on the menu, spicy deluxe.
Facts.
Add bacon.
Yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
dude. Are you just gonna sit in front of the microphone while I'm doing this, or what?
No.
Ah,
Yeah.
not so loud. People can hear you. You don't gotta talk so loud.
Sorry for everybody who has headphones on right now.
That's why I didn't put them on.
Right, there you go. Right, so yeah, so my son's into like butterfly knives, right? And so I bought him one that's not real. It's not even a butter. It's
Yeah,
real,
you gotta practice the flip. I wish I had one here. I'd show it to you.
dude. He's amazing at it. He's always walking around the house. Yeah, just look, he's freaking just.
Wait, I'll go get
Dude, yeah, he's absolutely nice with it, right? But
my dad got me one of those a long time ago. Those are fun.
absolutely they are, man. I love it when my son just shows up in here, right? But dude, so what I was saying is our first track days everybody goes to, none of us are prepared because we really don't have a clue, right? Even if your friend's gone several times, that don't mean he listened or paid attention and brought anything with him, right? Yeah.
Can't take the riding homies word for
this thing my uncle bought for me.
anything.
This is like 120.
120.
I like that one.
You know, that thing's cool. He's always, yeah, let me get out the way.
Now he's sitting away from it.
Yeah. I gotta sit out the way from it in case he's got a mistake. But he's really good at it. Yeah, there he goes.
No, he is. Control.
Yeah. So, dude, Burch, he's getting a dirt bike for Christmas.
Wow. So you already know the surprise is like the best part.
Well, I mean, when we was at Jersey, he always rides John Dale's little 50 around, CRF 50.
Oh,
so
that was you ripping it around.
Dude, it's always Rossi ripping it around there, right?
I think I heard / saw him go by at some point.
You probably did, man, for sure. Of course, he's all pinned and gassed out, so
yeah,
for sure. Yeah, my man. Got a rep. Dude, so his job when we showed up was like, you got to give out these stickers. I brought 150 stickers.
I saw all.
They were gone in like 2 hours.
Let's go.
He's like, I'm done.
Not
I
even
was like,
2 hours. It was like an hour and 30.
But of course, I had to take him to Target and buy his Lego.
Lightsaber.
A lightsaber. That's what it was. I bought my lightsaber. You did. Fist pound, my man. All right. But anyway, so yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Those were the days though, just showing up fresh and new. But that's what I love about our community too. Like exactly what you were saying. You don't know nobody, you show up and everybody's there to help, right? Even when you forget stuff,
Yeah. I think that's what I love too about it is like that was before I was in the industry and everyone was like that. And that really stuck with me. And now without being, I'm not a mechanic. I know you call me a suspension specialist, but not really. I'm still doing a lot, learning a lot. Like the journey is something that I don't overlook. Like I really enjoy it, but that's always stuck with me is something that, people are so welcoming. So I always try to do that too. And being suspension, we get complex questions that I can't even answer, that I'm asking my UK team about and I'm learning constantly. But we also get a lot of questions that being out of suspension might seem confusing, but once you're in it, it's kind of like, hey, that's a dumb question. But I try never to treat it that way because we need more people in the sport. The sport is constantly, I feel like declining and growing. There's different trends, motorcycles versus dirt bikes versus even into adventure bikes or, cruisers or whatever it may be. So just anything I can do to just help or welcome or give advice or find advice. I always try to pass that on because it's always been passed on to me. And I've got a list of people here too that I'm sure we'll talk about that. It's all thanks to them really. So I wouldn't be anywhere without those people. And I think that's something everyone should keep in mind. Like no one ever does it on their own. There's always a group of people that help in some way. And it's always cool to do that for people, but then let those people know, thank you. And I'm still in contact with a lot of people on the list. So it's just, it's enjoyable. It's a job that it's not a job. You can do it on the weekends. You can do it after hours and it's not pulling your hair out. It's an enjoyable job. So I am lucky and blessed to have that. And that's something I think about constantly too. Being in old jobs where I was miserable or doing something I didn't want to do. And yeah, it's just really cool. So I want to get as many people into motorcycles as I can because I know what it's done for me.
I love it, man. This is my way of giving back to the sport too, as well, right? It's man, it's a beautiful thing. To me, suspension is alone in art form just by itself, right? It's its own little magical science. What got you into suspension and tuning, and what was your journey like to get to where you are right now with K-Tech?
So essentially, like I said, I was just riding bikes. My hometown of North Carolina, Western North Carolina. There's a very big suspension company there. I'm sure a lot of people listening or who know of it know about it. So I had a really good riding friend that I knew through John Faddock. Again, his name was Michael Chenoweth. He moved here from Texas, and I kind of started doing track days with him, and we would hang out just locally. Like go to a bike night together, get a beer. We would go hang out at his house. He's got a really nice spot up on a mountain. And we would just kind of, shoot the shit, hang out, do motorcycle stuff. And then one day he's like, hey, I got this friend. He's got a shop, and it's really, entry level, but might be something you want to do. And at the time I just gotten out of college. So I was kind of working odd jobs and working at a restaurant. I was also working MotoAmerica with Dan. So doing the scaffolding and stuff. And I kind of just fell into it, like went to an interview. And it's so funny. I showed up to this interview with like a suit, or not a suit, but nice button up and a tie. And I walk in and it's pretty much just a motorcycle shop. And my boss said that really impressed him, and I ended up getting a job there. And yeah, just started as a really simple sales guy, like just learning stuff. Like I wouldn't even know the difference of some bikes, the name or the engine size if you didn't say the brand. So I've come a long way since then. That was 2018. So yeah, just learned from him suspension, and obviously being close to that other distributor, learned a lot going to training there and being there with them. And I had a lot of good mentors from there too. There's a few in MotoAmerica that I'll name later too that have really helped. So like I said, just a really nice community and teaching me it. But it wasn't until I got the job with K-Tech that grew to even a higher level. So it's one thing to, build someone's suspension, take a fork, take a shock, take it apart, put it together, and then just here, take it back. MotoAmerica is completely different. Something that I'm really not at the level for yet, but I'm getting there. Again, with the help of a lot of mentors and just being a rider, hanging out with some racers, studying data or overlooking someone's shoulder, and they're kind of showing me or teaching me different things. But that is completely different than building someone's suspension and just placing it in their hand, because now at the racetrack, you're talking about changing variables. You're talking about obviously having very short, limited amounts of time to do testing. And if you're not working with someone, it's so important to have all your data and have all your numbers, because if someone comes up and asks us for help and they're not someone who we're already contracted with or a team we're working with, I kind of got to start from the top and ask all these questions. So that was something I never had to do at my old job. My old job was just selling, understanding how it worked. And although this job, I do that during the week, the MotoAmerica is really what teaches me. Learn a lot about setup, geometry, valving, changes, track surfaces, what it does to tires, different tire pressures. Like it all plays in together. And that's really hard to think about, when you're trying to set up a whole motorcycle, because if you change one thing, something else changes. And a lot with like preloads, an easy example. You put some preload into the back of a bike, and it's going to kind of sit on its nose more. So then your sag might increase. You might need to balance the preload. There's a lot to it that you need to understand what it's doing with what input, right? And that's just an experience thing. And pretty much everyone is like, you can't rush experience. You just got to be there and be willing to learn, and obviously stay on the bike and ride, and just try new things. So yeah, it's been quite a journey.
Dude, it sounds like it. It's dude, there'd be 1,000 people wanting to be in your position right now, right? You got a freaking amazing job, bro. Absolutely, dude. It's awesome. So since you've been you are a legend and you are a specialist, man. Get out of here. I don't even want to hear that.
I appreciate that.
Stop that nonsense right now.
I'm well on my way. I'm well on my way. It's almost like every year I look back and I've learned so much that, it just blows my mind. The difference of, just the little things that you learn and it all kind of compiles together. And now, answering questions, especially, a question you get one time is easy to answer, but then working with someone like a rider where it's always having to tune it, make it better, make it better. That's fun. And I like doing that on my own too. I like doing that at the track with my friends or on our mountain bikes or dirt bikes, whatever it may be.
Oh, for sure. I bet, right? And the reason why I say that is because look where you're sitting at. Look at this sign behind you and the shirt you got on, dude. You're there, bro. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So since you've been doing the suspension side of things, now you got a real understanding, more than most of us mortals do, about suspension and what it does to the tires, how it affects grip, yada, yada, yada. Obviously, has that made you a lot better rider too? Okay. And then with that question, has your feel when you ride a motorcycle change because of the suspension knowledge that you have?
I wouldn't say it makes me better. I think the only thing that makes you better really is seat time. But I definitely think it helps me understand what the bike's doing. And you'll work with riders that are really good at that. You'll work with riders that'll know, like, hey, there's too much preload, or hey, it's spinning, or something, without having to look at the data. And then some people really don't know. So that's why it's hard, because a lot of bikes, especially in MotoAmerica, being that there's so much electronics, you got to know how to learn the data. You got to understand what's going on, because it's not as much feel anymore, but if you're at the track with, your friends or track day guys or club guys, you can kind of, if you work with one person and they've either got numbers or you kind of start with a good baseline, then usually you can set it up pretty good. And you don't need the data, because in the grand scheme of things, we're all slow, like I'm slow. I do some club racing. I'm sure the club racing guys who are winning are slow in comparison to MotoAmerica. It goes on because the motorcycle community is already so small. And the people that are on track are already so small that, nothing that I'm going to do to my bike is going to make me exponentially faster just because of the suspension. That's just, like I said, seat time. And then some people just got it, man. Some people got that God-given ability, and they're just, it's part of them. And they're so smooth on a bike, that's something you can't teach. So, and that's a lot of our MotoAmerica guys. Like, I hear a lot of guys at track days are like, I wouldn't come in last and stuff like that. And then you get on track with some of those guys, even mid-pack or people that are further back. Those dudes are all fast. Like, they are all blazing fast. So that was funny going from track days, being a track day guy, to then riding with some of these racers that I've worked with or met. And then I'm just like, dude, like, I thought I was fast at the track or at the club races, but these guys are next level. And usually they're all very cool as well. Like, you don't get a lot of egotistical riders that are like not going to help you, or they're not going to bump you out of the way or anything. And if you ask them a question, they'll legitimately help you. Or if they see you, I've even had sometimes when I'm coaching at, school, we'll be working with some of the MotoAmerica guys, and they'll say something like, hey, I passed you here and you could do this. So it's always, the community is unlike any other, and I think that's why it's important to keep the good people close, because anywhere you go, there's good people and bad people. But when you meet some really good ones in this industry, it's important to keep them close. And I'm just blessed to have that all around me. So Christian, who you met earlier, he's the man. He's our tech. My boss, Skip, allows me to obviously do this in here. I was going to do it in his RV, which is where I've been staying. And maybe next time I can walk around, we'll get some shots and stuff. But we got a cool thing going here. And a lot of the teams we work with are really good people. They have their own shops and big businesses, selling motorcycles or doing specialty work. So I think it all kind of gets better. I think you get faster and get better the more you're into it. You can't just go spin laps. You got to have a goal. You got to, have things to work on. I think that's really important. But yeah, I think it does help a little bit just with the understanding, but nothing beats seat time, man. And I slacked on it this year. I didn't do too much track asphalt road race stuff this year. There's a lot of dirt biking and stuff like that in between races, just being busy and traveling, and what happened with home. So
Yeah,
want to get on it. I want to get on it ASAP. I'm about to just move somewhere for the winter where it's warm. Where's it at? Where's the track open?
Should go down there to Florida. I got many friends down there, right? And a lot of SFL GP and all that. Yeah, dude, I can hook you up for sure. But yeah, man, it's I call it our beautiful circus, because that's exactly what it is. We're such a small traveling circus around the United States. And we're such a small little tight group. And just like every circus, we always have those clowns in the circus, right? But man, it's beautiful, and I wouldn't change it for anything. It's the love you get from everybody and the willingness that everybody gives you to help you out, meaning that me and Burch could be at a track and I have an issue and he lets me borrow a rear sprocket or whatever it is, but I go out there and I beat him during that race. It's nothing but love when we come back in. I mean, I'm not lying, right? It is. It's like, hey, because of me, you won the race, but dude, congratulations, because you got me today. You know what I'm saying? Now give me my sprocket back next time I got you.
No, you're buying it. You're buying it now.
Yeah, right. It's yours now. Yeah, just go out and keep it.
Yeah,
I love it, dude. It's good stuff, man. So let me ask you this: walk us through your typical MotoAmerica weekend.
Oh man, that depends on if I'm flying or driving.
Flying. Let's just keep it
flying.
simple.
All right,
flying.
So usually flying either Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, depending on where it is. If it's Wednesday morning, straight to the track, do our check-in. Thursday is our setup day. So typically as a suspension specialist, we are a vendor, but we can get in the night before just because we have a little bit different setup. We're always in the same spot. So we'll usually go park. Sometimes, depending on what time it is or how we feel, we'll do a little bit of unboxing or setup, but mostly that's all Thursday. So then Thursday comes, finish setup, and then by that time, we're either going around to a few teams who have already scheduled work to be done, or we've got people coming up to us that's not scheduled and just saying, hey, I need to do this weekend, or I need a spring, or this, that. And it's not only suspension. My boss also distributes for, GB Racing. So it's a lot of GB stuff too, sprockets, like you said. And GB Racing protection is, you'll see it all over MotoAmerica. So that's one of the popular ones. He also distributes for Dimag wheels. So, sometimes we'll have to deliver some of that. And then, pretty much all day, the rest of the day, Thursday is getting anyone set up for practice or any services done. And then Friday is going to be practice where we'll make changes. We do go out with certain teams depending on who we're working with or who's racing, like which series is racing that weekend. And a few teams will have a tech specifically with them throughout, whether it's practice or qualifying or the race or whatever it is. So if anything comes up Saturday morning, pop to it, get it done so they can do their qualifying. And then, for the races, we're either all hanging out together at the truck because we're doing other work and we've got a TV there we can watch, or sometimes we'll just be in the box with them. And that's usually what I like to do. I like to sit in the box because a few of the teams will have a TV. So it's mounted there. You're hanging out with them, seeing their reactions, and just being able to be there with them after working with them for the weekend, and just seeing their rider hopefully do well.
Oh yeah, it's you work with a bunch of group of good guys too, like Kendall and Dakari, and absolutely. Now forget the other guy's name.
Gil.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry, Gil. Yes.
Gil's the man.
He is the man, dude. Do you know a guy named Yeti?
Who?
Yeti, Yeti.
I don't know.
Somebody's trying to pop in this podcast. I was just asking because he keeps like kind of chiming in. I don't know who it is. Let me see. I don't know who this is. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, Yeti. Hello, can you hear me? I don't know who this is, dude. I have no idea. I thought maybe you sent somebody a link. I don't know. I didn't.
No, not me. Not I.
All right. Hang on. Let me do this. Boom. There we go. So yeah, man, it's listen, I know you're super busy on the weekend because I always see you and Kendall and Dakari and Gil huffing it around. Always got a spanner or something in your hand, rear shock or whatever. So yeah, man, it's that's awesome. That's freaking amazing what you do.
Usually race time, it's fun because the changes are made, everything's done. You just kind of get to sit back and see how the race goes. But even a few times this year, like we had a lot of rain. So it either, rain and then the race, when it was time to race, it was dry or vice versa. So we were making changes up until, depending on the weekend, up until even the race, even on the grid once at COTA. So it's really fun to be in that though. And it's really fun to be out on the starting grid, for a superbike race or something like that. But being there and not riding just makes you want to ride, even if we're not keeping up with those dudes, that's all you're thinking about. You're around it all weekend. And then when you've gone without it, like I have, it just like makes it so much worse. But every weekend was good with us. This year we had a lot of people come on board, which was nice. And people are starting to realize that the product is there and we're working to give the support that people need. Try to show more face. We do have a big crew and it's a good crew. But we get it all done. So it's fun being there. And then usually Sunday we just pack up and leave. I typically stay Sunday and I like to hang out with Gil, or I'll hang out at the track with some people and I'll just make sure he gets all closed up. And then I leave on Monday. Or Gil and I, like at Mid-Ohio, we were just at the track. We stayed for the track day. So we got to, ride and do all that. So those are the fun weekends too. Being able to do that. I really enjoy that.
Oh, 110%. I couldn't imagine. That was something I was going to ask you if you guys ever stay after and do the track day the following Monday.
Yeah, we tried to when it's local. Some of the West Coast stuff just too far, but yeah, anything local we try to get to. Gil's got an R3 and he rides. Kendall's got a Ducati, he rides. Dakari's got an R1. We all ride on the track, and they work heavy with club racers too. So we'll go to some club weekends if it's not, if MotoAmerica is not happening. And just try to, we all try to ride where we can. They're a little bit more busy than me though. They got families and they got a little bit more scheduling, whereas this is my job. So I can, my travel days, I can work a little bit and I can go to the track. And my boss is always super cool about that. Like anytime I mention, hey, can I take a day off today? Or this day I'm going to the track. He's always like, oh yeah, go. Yeah, go ride. So I love that.
I love it, man. I love it. It takes a village to raise one child, right? That's what my mom always told me. Same thing in the motorcycle world. It takes a village to raise one racer or anybody that has to work in MotoAmerica, because it's so during the weekend, are you assigned a specific rider right now, Burch, or?
So I did work a lot with Junior Cup, and I hate that it's going away because that's like one of my favorite classes. And I love watching what the families put in and how they show up and support, because that would be so cool to be a kid and be able to do that. That's just like the ultimate dream of a lot of people, I'm sure, but it is expensive and it's hard to do, but, and all the kids are fast. I love watching them because they're always in a close race, So I work a lot with them, but mainly I just work with Hayden Gillum. So I wrote him down on here, obviously, and he's circled. And then beside him, I also have Mark Jung. So Mark Jung is Hayden Gillum's, I guess, crew chief, you could call him. And I met Mark when I first started working for K-Tech. When we went over to the UK, I flew over there with Skip and Kendall and Tony, our off-road manager, and Mark came. So that's when I first met him. And, he's so knowledgeable and they have so much success. So 2 years ago, they thought it would be good. Hey, let's put Burch with Mark. Like, let's go let him go learn from Mark. So that's been amazing. 2 back-to-back Stock 1000 championships for Hayden. And just being there in the pits with them and listening to them talk, listening to how Mark translates what Hayden's saying and the changes he makes to the bike is pretty amazing. And he's very good with the electronics. So that's something you'll always see him if you guys watch MotoAmerica live and they ever have their camera on Hayden. If he's pitted in and Mark's got his computer plugged in and they're doing something, or he's out, because he's just, he's a bull and he's super fast. So learned a lot from Mark, and I think that's probably the main person I get to be with. I go with Altus here and there, and they also have a pretty good crew chief and pretty good crew that they make the calls. I'm not making any of these big calls. I'm not really at the tech level that some of these crew chiefs are, or even Kendall is, to be able to understand everything when it comes to that. So it was like Mark was the perfect fit. And then the Junior Cup is a little bit easier because, no electronics, a little bit easier to ride, a little bit easier to set up, not as much going on. And then I also got to work with Max Van in Super Sport. That was kind of a late end of the year thing. Started at Mid-Ohio, and he was just tearing up his bike, tearing up his tires. And I'd been teasing Brian for like all year. And I was like, hey man, I got a shock for you whenever you need it, just BSing because they're cool. And then he finally came up and he was heated and he was like, you got that shock? Like I need it right now. And I had already taken some end eyes off and we were making some changes for another rider that was there. And I was like, crap, like I got to make this work because I've been in his ear about it. So fitted up a TRDS, put a setting in there that we thought Max would like, put on his spring for his weight, slapped it on. I think that was his first top 10. And he immediately was like, oh my God, that is insanely different. It was this shock that I showed earlier, right? The TRDS. I'll show it again if anyone's missed out on it.
Yeah. Let's see that beautiful thing.
The thing is beautiful, dude.
Yes, it is. She's a work of art. Look at that. Hydraulic preload too.
So that's somebody's. I can't say who, but I'll let you guys think about who it might be.
Yeah. That's Jorge Lorenzo.
The number is just his number of shock because he had a couple.
The JL, everybody, is Jorge Lorenzo, just to let you guys know.
So we got compression or rebound, compression, and then this is your preload adjuster with an air canister.
Yeah.
So length adjustment. It's a pretty sweet shock. So
it is a sweet shock.
I loved working with Max and his dad and his uncle and their friend because they are just so funny. Like being in their pit for the weekend is so funny, and I can't repeat some of the stuff they said, but it is hilarious. It's like it's like an explicit comedy, and they're all cool about it, and they're all talking smack to each other, and then they're like, "I love you, bro," and then they're like hug. It's just so like the energy there is better than anyone else I've worked with. And I don't have to do too much. Like I said, we just put it on his bike, changed some preload, changed a few clickers, and he's been doing well. So he kept it on for Mid-Ohio and then Coda and then New Jersey, and he did well for pretty much all of those rounds. Suspension felt good. So I really like working with them. But yeah, it's kind of one who contracts us through my boss at the beginning of the year. That's above me. I don't really get to decide that. And then kind of who needs help. So if they need physical help, just changing the preload or just doing stuff like that, changing springs, I'm happy to do that. I'll do a lot of the simple stuff. And then working with riders, that's kind of like the experience, something that's not being rushed, but learning more, understanding more, compounding all that together. I think soon enough I'll be able to be confident enough to, be on my own, go out and work with people. Hopefully we get some more teams, because we're in talks with many people right now. So I am going to have to step it up and be there to help, but I'm going to be able to do it. It's really no big deal. It's kind of like one of those things that once you do it for the first time with a couple of riders, it's easy. If they're having a problem, usually at that level, they're good enough to say which direction we should go. And then I'll do that. And if it's good, we'll keep going. If it's bad, we go the other way. It's not too hard. It's probably a lot more simplified, but you get the gist.
I do. It's always good to keep everything simple for sure. Right. It's yeah, like I said, freaking suspensions to me is a lost art, right? It's something you got to study and really know. I know a little bit about it. I can set up my sag and my rider sag and all that.
And that's a perfect way to set a baseline. You'd be surprised. Yeah. I'll go to the track and do that. And so many people's sag is so off. And typically it doesn't matter what the front reads, the rear is always low. So no matter if your front is soft or hard, everyone's riding around like this. And it's really hard to turn on a bike like that because you need to load the front. But if you can't load the front because your rear is so sagged out, then, it's harder to ride and it moves around a lot more. So I love just going and setting sag on like a stock bike with no adjusters, because then they can't mess it up. You just get them in the right range and then it feels better. And that's fun to do even at a like novice or intermediate level, is make a couple changes and someone come back like, oh my gosh, dude, you're the man. But you just teach them how it works. You teach them what turn does what's going to, make the internal change, because it's hard on a fork, right? People don't know because you can't see it. With a shock, it's easier. It's right there. You do it with your hand. You know, it's a little bit more
hands-on.
Hands-on, physical touch, right? But the fork, you might be screwing something in or out. You don't know how many turns it has. You don't know what measurement the turn is. So a lot of times people are just off, and you just set them at the baseline and let them go their way. And then once you've taught them what the adjusters do, then, you know, even in the back of most of our suspension books, you'll find, you know, if it does this, try this, and it'll have the damping change, the preload change. And that's what I enjoyed learning about originally. So I was working for a suspension shop, small shop, and didn't really get to learn like that, I guess you could say. So taking it to another level here is a lot better. And then going to trainings, like I was able to take a few different trainings with a few brands. So seeing how suspension works as a whole is like the first step, and riders understanding what it's doing, right? Because then when they're going to make a change, they'll know what they're changing. And typically with most street bikes or track bikes, even we can set an okay baseline. A lot of people here are just bigger humans than where the bikes are made. So at least springs, like at the very least, get you direct replacement springs. And that sits you in the right sag area support without a ton of preload, because there's always going to be a threshold of too much preload or too little preload. And depending on the shock and the measurements, you know, we won't get into all that, but you can have too much or too little. Usually my number is like 7 to 14 or 15. And that's just me for my bike, right? So I like a little bit lighter spring, more preload, but other people might like a really stiff spring, less preload, or someone might go above 15 and they like it. Like I've worked with some MotoAmerica guys that are above preload numbers that I would do, or even for a retail customer, if they were calling and saying, hey, I'm set up here, I'd say, well, I would go up in this spring rate, drop your preload, you know. So it's not really there's not a book that says how to do it. It's what feels good. Yeah. So it's cool. You'll see two guys that are the same speed and they'll have completely different setups just because how they ride and they're different inputs. So that's always interesting to note too. And now with the data, that brings a whole nother level to it, to where we can even lay them on top of each other down to, you know, 3 feet of where you're turning in versus me. And that's just nuts.
And you learn a lot from that too, you know, and you're right. And there's no such thing as a perfect motorcycle. I think a lot of people got the misconception on that too, right? If you gain in one area, you're going to lose in one area, right? You're just trying to make the, at the end of the day, you're trying to set up your bike for the 2 black round things we call tires on your motorcycle to get you the most feel, the most grip you can get. That's it, right? So it's always
traction. That's always in the back of everyone's mind the whole time is traction, no matter where you are on the track or even riding anywhere, right?
That's it. Absolutely. So I want to get to a couple more of these comments real quick. Brandon Cole says, Burch, what is up, Brandon?
My man, Brandon. Yo, so Brandon's got a shop in North Carolina. He's a dealer of ours. Hit him up if you need him.
There you go.
He does a lot of work. He worked with Jackson Blackman.
Nice. Another legend.
Yeah, the last year. So he's a good homie. And then also our friend Giacomo works with Giacomo, our Italian stallion.
That's my man, Giacomo. What? Yes, sir. Yeah, actually, dude, he sent me 2 shirts and 2 beanie hats. Giacomo, I have your shirt. I brought it with me, but you wasn't there. So, yeah.
Those shirts are nice. He gave me one too. Those are nice shirts.
Dude, he gave me that and sent me 2 beanie hats. And as soon as I got the beanie hats in, Rossi, as soon as I showed him, he's like, I want the white one, Daddy. I said, okay. Yeah, there you go. So, Giacomo,
I like him. We ride a lot too. He's about 45 minutes south of me in North Carolina.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, he's the man.
Dude, listen, if y'all haven't heard, he's been on my podcast. He's an absolute legend. Go check it out and stay tuned because he is coming back on. So
let's go.
And then we got Chris Durbin. What is up, Chris? He said, what's up, brother?
What's up, Chris? Hey, I got your preload adjusters and everything. You just tell me how you want them. You want them from me or you want them from Mark? But I got you.
And speaking of Mark Jones, man, he was a legend back in the day too. I remember watching him race, you know, so I've been watching racing a long time. So Mark, big shout out to you.
He's the man. I like chilling with him in Ohio. His spot is really cool. Kind of like what I want to build for my house. A bunch of bikes in it, big steel building, like
a man cave.
Yeah. Mark would never, I had to get Skip, my boss, to tell me about Mark though, because I met Mark and it wasn't for even the first year. I didn't even know he rode like that.
Really?
And then Yeah, and then we got on the track together. He was like, yo, you should come to this track day. Like me and Hayden are going and Jake Lewis and, all these guys. So me and my friend Sammy, he was driving their truck. He ended up going too, but he couldn't ride, unfortunately. But that's when I was like, whoa, Mark is like that. Like Mark is crazy fast. Mark could probably enter some races now. And it was, they were on their 1000s, and then Jake was on a 600 or his next gen 750. And I was on a 599 Cowie, like an old one, and riding with them was just insane. Absolutely insane. Yeah, so I went to a couple track days with them, and Mark got me on with coaching with some of the Mid-Ohio schools. So he's the man. Like, really big shout out to him, big mentor, someone I look up to, someone who lets me stay at his place. He's awesome. I love hanging out with that crew too. We always have fun, and it's always a learning experience. And just riding behind them, even if it's for 3 or 4 corners, you learn stuff. It's insane how they move on the bike. It's crazy seeing Jake Lewis going to turn 5 at NCM. I don't know if people know about that, but it should be just full on pinned, just in there. And he's so tall, and he's just watching him go in there really gave me confidence. I was like, all right, I need to go faster through here. Like, holy crap.
And Jake's a big boy too, man. He
ripper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hayden's an animal, but him and Mark will play. Like Mark's fast. Yes. I want to be like them. Definitely.
Right. I know that's right. And then, dude, we got the legend Philip Chapin in the house. What is up? He said, "What's up, fellas? What's going on, bud?"
Yeah. So we had Matt on K-Tech this year, Junior Cup champion. Shout out to Matt and Phil. Yeah. So great rider, great team to watch. And that was another one where they were with the team. And although we might go stand with them, we didn't need to help a lot. They were dialed. They had Eric Block there. So Eli, another really good homie. They had a good thing going there this year. So they both did well. Shout out to both of them. And yeah, love seeing the K-Tech on the box. And they're always good. My little guys like that, like Matt and Eli, a few of the others, they're so good at tagging, the K-Tech suspension and sharing videos and collabing with me and teaching me about it. So I'm like, yeah, you guys share it. I'll put it up. Let's show it off. So like working with them.
Oh yeah, dude, and they're all freaking legends, dude. And it's when I first met Matt and his dad Phil, man. It's like, again, it's people you meet in our beautiful small circus, man. And the energy and the love and dude, like when Matt would get on the podium, I'd be standing there, woo, let's go. He'd come up to me, give me a fist bump or a hug or whatever. And his dad and his mom. And yeah, man, they're absolutely amazing human beings. Big shout out to 2024 Junior Cup champ, right?
Yeah.
And
let's go.
Absolutely murdered it this year. If you guys haven't checked, I actually had Phil and Matt on the podcast. So you get the champ's perspective, and you get his dad perspective of raising legends such as Matt too, right? The journey and all that good stuff. So, and then we got Chris Tollick, another legend in the house, man.
Oh, my man, Tollick. What is up?
That's my dude, man. He says, wave to Michael Castro. Absolutely. We got Fuzzy in the house.
Fuzzy.
Yeah.
Fuzzy Moto.
Yes, sir. Fuzzy's on. I'm still waiting on my shirt, Fuzzy.
Hey,
still waiting on my shirt.
You're never going to get that from Fuzzy.
I'll get it one day. It's all good.
I'm just kidding, Fuzzy. I'll see you soon, Fuzzy. I'm coming to you.
Right? Nothing but love for sure. 110%. But listen, dude, we're 53 minutes into this podcast. I told you it was going to go by super quick, bro. He says, I heard Burch sits when he pees. Is this true?
That's what Fuzzy said?
No, that's what Tolok said.
Tolok, come on, bro.
Oh, I love it. Dude.
I met Chris working with TOBC 2 years ago, and that was another really fun group to work with. They had a lot of fun guys, and Chris was a very memorable one because we went to Roebling first. So I rolled up to Roebling, never had done a MotoAmerica event, right? And they're doing testing there with, I think it was Stefano, maybe someone else. And I rolled up, and it was so funny because I was expecting, Boulder Motorsports was there, so they had their big truck and everything. And I pull in, and I'm chilling with this guy in his van, and his van looks insane, and he has every tool known to man in this van. And it turns out it was Tulloch. So we were working on stuff and setting it up, the through rod, and he was like, just grab my thing over there or something. I remember he was opening the back of his van, and I was like, dude, if you asked me to grab anything in here, I could not find it. But he was dialed, man, and he was a great crew chief, and he taught me some stuff too here and there, and he's always a good one to see, always one to real renowned and giving everyone hugs and high fives. So I like that energy. He's the man.
Oh yeah, totally, absolutely. Dude, we got William Posse in the house, dude. He's an absolute legend. We got my man Gabriel
Posse.
De Silvia in the house. He's an absolute
Both of those
legend.
guys, great ones to follow on the track. They'll get you fast. Both of those boys. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Posse, and got a lot of love for Gabe. He's my homie. That's my airport layover homie.
I love it, dude. I love it. I love it. I love it, dude. I'm still waiting on William, dude. I'm still waiting on get William on the podcast. I've been chasing him around since I met him in Atlanta. He gave me a hat and a shirt. I wear his shirt out. I wore his hat out the other day, and somebody was looking at me in line, and they're like, "Whose hat is that?" I was like, "My buddy William Posse that races." He's like, I guess they thought it was something else. I was like, nah, man, it's MotoAmerica. You need to go check it out. Go like and subscribe. We need all the love we can in our sport, right? Let's go.
Yeah. No,
Man,
he's cool. We got to go eat with each other at Pittsburgh last year, and he was a hoot. We went to some little diner, and it was a nice restaurant. We were like, yeah, let's check this place out. It's going to be good. Going with Kendall and someone else. And we rolled up, and of course, there was like a duo singing in there. And I don't know why. I think it was like opera sounding. I'm sure it wasn't, but that is all I remember. And we were trying to eat this food, and it was so good. And there's just people on the stage just blaring, and it's me and Posse sitting like this. And I remember just eating, like, can't even talk to him this close together. So that was funny.
Yeah, William's awesome. I met him in Road Atlanta early this year. Him and his girl, man. It was yeah, because like I've been a big fan of his for a long time, and I was like, "What's up, Will? I'm Simcoe from Pendergast." He's like, "What's up, dude?" Blah blah blah. I was like, "Yeah, that's my dude right there." And listen, we got another legend in the house. We got Dakari. Dakari says this guy go to work.
Hey, I worked all day, and you didn't call me back or text me or whatever. So I don't want to hear that. I hand packaged your order with love, Dakari. Come on.
Nothing but love for you, Dakari. Yeah, man. Yeah, he's another one I'm working on, Burch, to get on the podcast. Is Dakari.
Yeah, you got to get him and Kendall on there for sure.
Kendall's in the works. I messaged him earlier. He still ain't messaged me back yet. So yeah, we're gonna stay tuned. So I'm gonna get everybody from K-Tech on. And yeah, so big shout out to K-Tech too. So if anybody wants any suspension done, listen, look no further than K-Tech. And if you can't get in touch with them, get in touch with me. I'll put you in contact and we'll get you set up to go away. But listen, first, dude, we're almost 56 minutes in this, 57 minutes. I have a whole lot of personal questions I want to ask you, but I'm not going to get to ask you all of them because yeah, I don't want to keep you too much longer. And I know you're a busy man. You got work to do, and I got to go eat too.
Before we go into personal, we should do the I feel like we talked a lot about the job and how I got into motorcycles. Maybe other things will come up, but I want to talk about the K-Tech thing real quick too, just how that came
let's
about.
do it. Yeah.
Just real quick, because this
you're good.
So like I said, I was kind of, working for a local shop, and that shop ended up kind of just shutting down, and they went another direction. They got bought out. So in the meantime, I was kind of hanging out. I had been working really hard for this company for 4 or 5 years, and I was like, I'm just going to chill out for a little bit. So like I said earlier, I was working with Dan doing the scaffolding, and I got a message from a dealer of mine. So I was still close with a lot of dealers that after I left my job that I'm still close with today, that were actually dealers of K-Tech or that I brought on. And one of my really good dealers who was like the head technician, his name was Lenny Alvin. He called me and shot me a message, and yeah, RIP Lenny, he was the man. I can't begin to explain the things I learned from Lenny, and I didn't even get a lot of time with him, which was crazy. We only hung out a couple of times. He came by my shop one time as he was passing through, rebuilt some shocks. And I got to know him that way. And then I'd be kind of his customer service guy. So he'd be traveling, but I would be doing work for him or doing orders, sending him stuff to his home for when he got back to do work. And he brought me, he ran into me at MotoAmerica, and he was with Kendall, who was also a dealer of mine at this shop that had now closed. And, it was so cool seeing them working in the truck and everything. And I was just hanging out. I was just wanting to be around racing and have a weekend off, travel around with my bike, do some track days, ride my dirt bike, do whatever. And and Lenny said, hey man, I heard what happened. That really sucks. I think you might have an opportunity here. Like, I want to introduce you to Skip, his boss, and I want to introduce you to the guys and kind of see what happens. So I said, okay. So this was back in 2022. So this was where it went Jersey and then Barber the last year, I believe. or the last race. So went up to Jersey, met with Kendall and Lenny, and they were just like full of energy, hanging out. And then Skip ended up coming on later that weekend. And I met with them a couple times and we talked. And I said, yeah, I'll think about it, because New York's a long way from North Carolina. So the next race comes Barber, and I show up, and I was going to have an answer for them. And that was when we had found out that Lenny had passed away. So that was really tough. And it's now, fast forward a couple years later, Skip and Kendall and a few other of our contacts and dealers that knew Lenny or close for Lenny said he really advocated for me. And that means a lot because that was something I really never got to tell him thank you for. And I never really even sought out Lenny. Like I would just answer the phone and talk to him and talk about life and ask him questions about shocks. And then when I'd see him, he'd always show me something cool and he'd always take time to explain it. And I really liked that because it's back to like the beginning of the conversation. Everyone's really welcoming. And with someone of Lenny's status, that meant the world to me because, he was taking time out of his day or even money out of his pocket in the future to teach me something, whether it was a tip or a trick or how to do something or, a way around it or how something worked, if I didn't understand. So that was definitely one that's gone too soon. And like, I really hate that I couldn't even thank him for that. I still have his voicemail on my phone. Where he's, hey kiddo, come see us. We're at the tent, and I'll always keep that because it's really important. And I wouldn't be here without him and everyone on this list that I've talked about or even mentioned. I really wouldn't be where I am without all of them. And especially the guys here. So that's how I got into K-Tech. And then after I kind of joined there, it's just, dude, I'm just building off of that. I'm your yes man here. Anything that needs to be done, I'm doing it, whether it's packaging orders or doing sales or answering the phone. I built a razor shock with Christian yesterday and today. Like, I just want to be able to do it all. And I want to be able to, just be the man for that in the next, whatever, how many years, 10, 20 years, however long we're going to be here. You never know. So however long I'm blessed with, I want to make a difference in the motorcycle world.
I love it, Burch. Absolutely love it, man. Listen, Lenny, I had an honor to spend some time with Lenny when I was in Wisconsin. I helped Chris Lilligard when he raced Twins Cup out there for the weekend, and Lenny come in the truck, and that's when I first met him. And then we hung out with him that weekend pretty much. When I, didn't spend a whole lot of time with him, but I got the little interaction I did. He was super nice, super awesome, nothing but love and energy and great vibes coming from him, right? Yeah, it was an honor to meet him in our short lifetime. You're right.
He was a mastermind. That's just the stuff that he came up with, and he invented some things too. When it comes to suspension, we don't have to get into that, but he made it work, and no matter who it was for, he really made it work, and he wasn't afraid to think outside of the box. And I think that's not done a lot nowadays. Like a lot of times, people are like, "Oh, this doesn't work for me," but you got to understand what the suspension is doing in order to change it, right? Or what you need to change about the setup to make it better. And sometimes that gets really deep into the valving and the lengths and the strokes and top out springs and just how it's set up. And you can't teach that. It's like riding. You're not going to get fast or learn how to ride without riding. You can't go read all these books or play video games or do any of that. It's seat time. So same thing with setup. And Lenny was really, really the man on road, off road. He knew suspension as a whole and could really, share that in an easy way for me to understand. I'm a very visual learner. I can't sit down and read a textbook and learn. I got to put my hands on it and look at it, take it apart, all that.
Yeah, that's me. I'm 100% hands-on, man. I'm not, you can sit there in front of a desk and a book and I'll look at it and be like, duh, you know what I'm saying? Put my hands on it. Let's go. Right. Yeah. That's the way I learned it. Jessica Heron, thank you so much, Jessica, for watching. She says, she's talking to you, Bert. She said, you is smart, you is kind, and you is a badass.
Much love, Jessica. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
That's another local friend. So I got a lot of locals that I met, and we just take them all with us. However far we go, if I can help them with their moto stuff, no matter where they're at, no matter where I'm at, I want to help.
Absolutely, man. Sean Kinney, another friend of mine, which I'm pretty sure you know Sean too. He says he was our K-Tech guy in 2017, and me and Lenny would do fork spring changes in the hot pit during practice or red flags during the races. I would sometimes catch him falling asleep on hot pit lane while during practice. Yeah,
He lived for this, man. He was one of the hardest workers ever, and he did not stop. Like there was not any stopping. He loved what he did, and it was his passion. He gave it his all. Like literally, he gave it his all, and I really respect that because not a lot of people go above and beyond nowadays. And it was more than that to Lenny. He loved the racing, but he loved helping.
oh for sure. It's and you can totally see it when you meet certain people that you're fortunate and honored to come pass with in your life. You immediately know they are uncommon amongst uncommon people, if you will, right? Lenny was definitely one of those for sure. So yeah, man. Yeah, dude, Burch, this has been a lot of fun, bro. I told you it's gonna go by quick, right? And you told me I'm nervous. Don't be nervous, man. You're not nervous no more, are you?
I know, I guess not. Before we do personal stuff, I wanted to go over just another shout out to everybody, just in case I missed anyone. But I mean, I had a list of people written down, but obviously Mark Jung and Hayden Gillum, the homies, you guys are awesome. Teach me everything. Let me be in your pit. Very blessed by that. A couple of riders that I've just become friends with, Jake Lewis, Max Van, Joe Lamandry, Jackson Blackman, all of them, just really cool guys to work with. Shout out to them for just, let me hang around and learn a little bit here and there, both from them and the team. And a couple of dealers, GMD, CompuTrack Atlanta. I don't know if you know them, but owner Kent, he's the man. So when I first was transitioning jobs into K-Tech and everything, I had a big crash and he got me all sorted, and he took the time to kind of measure my bike on the jig, show me how it worked. Got a lot of love for that guy. So he's done a lot for me. Same with Nate Kern. Nate Kern is another one of his customers, someone who's done some track days with here and there. And riding with that guy is a blast no matter what it is. And he's got a lot to teach. So I'm sure I'm leaving some people out, but Gabriel Da Silva, he was on here earlier, another great friend, homie, shout out to him. I love learning, man. I love learning and just hanging out with everybody and being part of the community and trying to find where I can help, because all these people are helping, and I just want to be where can I help out, whether it's to them or to the next person, or it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I love it, man. And that people like you is what helping our sport, bro. We need more of it, right? I'm like you when I'm there. I just want to talk to everybody and learn as much as I can, right? It's there's and when the race is over, like at Jersey, when I left and I'm driving home, I was so sad. I'm like, dude, the season's already over. Like I'm not the only time I'm gonna see all my other family in MotoAmerica, you and everybody else, is when I show up or we sit down and do a podcast together. Other than that, it's going to be March of next year, right? So I was, yeah, man. Sad.
And obviously, shout out to the whole K-Tech team, right? So Christian, he's in the back. We got Gil, Kendall, Dakari coming. My boss, Skip. We just kill it here. Our sales guys, Steve and Kent, Jennifer and Michelle, and our admin. We got a really good team here. So everyone makes it work. Without one person, here, it doesn't work like it does. So
yep. I agree. And big shout out to K-Tech, man. Like I said, we'll talk about this after the podcast. But yes, man, listen, Burch, bro, dude, I can't wait for part 2. We got so much more to talk about, right? Yeah, for sure.
Maybe I'll think of something else. Yeah.
Well, we will, trust me. But I want to transition to what my favorite part of the podcast is, where we get to know Burch away from K-Tech into motorcycles and all that, right?
So you want me to unbutton now?
Yeah, go ahead, unbutton. Yeah, there you go. Cut yourself loose. I like it, right? Brendan Triplett says K-Tech is just the best. Yes, it is.
Brendan, what's up?
Yeah, he said you did something to his 04 that turned it into a monster. Brendan, I seen your comment. I just
Thank you, Brendan. I remember that pit race.
Yes, at Pitt. That's exactly what he said. Brendan's absolute awesome, right? And then we got the legend Matt Chapin watching right now, dude. What is up, Matt? The 2024 Junior Cup champ in the house. Love
Congrats, Matt.
Absolutely, congrats.
Ripper. Absolute ripper. Another one I'd love to ride with. Follow him around. That's crazy.
Dude, he even commented K-Tech on top. I mean, there you guys go. If you get any more proof, you got the champion right now. K-Tech on top. So what
Thank
you
you,
guys
Matt.
waiting
You're the
on?
man.
Yes, Matt is the man. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Burch, man, let me start off with this, man. Do you have any pets?
Yeah, I do, but my mom has it now.
Okay.
It is a rabbit. As funny as that sounds. So that turned into a college joke. We were like, yeah, we need a pet, like me and my 3 roommates. So I still live with one of them. He lives with me in Asheville. The other one just moved out. He still lives in Asheville. And then the third is in Charlotte. And we just always joked around. And one of my roommates at the time, his girlfriend had a rabbit. And one day I was just at the store hanging out with her and her friend, and there was rabbits there for like $20. And I was like, I'm going to bring this home to the roommates and see what they say. So that's the only pet. But yeah, I'd love to have a dog, but just being on the road makes it hard, you know?
It does. I was gonna say my dog was in here earlier, but she let herself out the room. She must have went to the bathroom. It's funny, man, because women will make men do some crazy things sometimes, like get rabbits at the rabbit store, right? So yeah, I feel you on that, buddy. Like
No, it was just PetSmart. It was PetSmart.
Oh,
and he
okay.
looked so cool because like all of them were fluffy white ones. And he was like, he almost looked like, you know what a brindle dog looks like?
Yeah.
He was almost brindle, but he has bright orange on him too. So he's dark, but he looks crazy. I'll send you a picture sometime. I'll tell my mom, like, hey mom, my podcast friend wants to see your bunny. Send him over. He's probably gonna be sitting there. She makes him a salad every day and everything. She loves him. So
I love it. I love it. It's the reason why I said that was like a little inside joke. My buddy, he's like, dude, I just bought my girlfriend a dog. I was like, cool. What kind of dog is it? And I forget what it was. He's like, I paid $3,500 for it. And I was like, bro, women will make men do some dumb stuff sometimes.
buying a dirt bike.
Yeah.
I'm buying a dirt bike with that.
Right? Facts. That's what I'd have said. I'd be like, yeah, I'll get you a dog. I'd have went to PetSmart and got her a stuffed dog, little stuffed animal, right? And there you go, babe. There's your dog.
It came with this supermoto.
Right. Yeah, right. I got the dog with the supermoto. So we both won. Yes, it's
Right.
awesome, dude. I love it, dude. I love it. Do you name your bikes at all? Like do you have names for your motorcycle? Do you name them?
No, people say, they make fun of me when I say the Ninja. I say the Ninja, you know, because it's just what I've said forever. And then my UK counterparts now have got me saying ZX. So that's a ZX6R.
All my UK friends, yeah, they
But no, don't name any of the bikes. But I got a 2011 ZX6, so that's track only. Got a 23 R1, which is kind of both right now. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. 2015 GS Adventure 1200, 21 YZ 125X, and then a Husqvarna 401 Vitpulin of all things.
That thing's a sweet bike, though, ain't it? It's fun
It's
to
a cool
ride.
bike. Yeah, so I got that from a friend just to fix up, and we got it running, and he doesn't have a place to store it. So I was like, man, I'll just buy it from you. And my girlfriend's been riding it. She'll ride it up and down wherever. So she's enjoying that thing, and she is just now learning. So she hops on and goes. But no naming of the bikes. I used to have a little Z125 that was a ripper, and I had that was the only bike with a nickname, but I won't say it here. But that was a fun bike. That's what I would always say to Tail of the Dragon. And just, you're everywhere. Just this. Braking is like this. You don't even. So that was fun. A little 140 kit on it. Oh, man.
Listen, I have the most fun on riding little bikes, right? Little pit bikes, whether it's a 50 with big handlebars on it, or a Grom or a Z125. It's low speed. You can run into each other. It's laps. Man, it's too much fun. It really is.
Crash each other into the wall.
Yeah, dude. It's a lot of fun. It really is. It's absolutely awesome. Jessica says, my dude, Mrs. Burch, already has them locked down. That's what good women do. You're right. Absolutely, Jessica. No pun intended. Yeah, absolutely right. I got a wife, dude. I've been married for 18 years, man. It's hard to believe when I said that. I was like,
my girlfriend's working right now, so she's not even watching. She's working.
She'll listen to this for sure. So yeah. Man, listen, women, to me, I say this all the time. All women are beautiful, and you're all queens. 110%.
She's awesome. Yeah, she hopped on that bike, dude. It was like 10 p.m. before I'm flying out to Laguna, and she's like, I want to ride that bike, and she had never ridden. and I'm in my neighborhood, and it didn't have an exhaust on it at the time. I had to get another one to silence it, and it was so loud. And this girl was like, "Yeah, I want to learn to ride." Pulls right out of my driveway, rah, starts shifting up and down my street like nothing. And I was just like, "No way, this is awesome." So she's super cool, and she's liking riding. So I got to get her on the track. I want to get her like a R3 or something.
A perfect bike, a little R3, absolutely.
Just to start on, yeah, for sure. But she's tall, she's athletic, she can handle it. I think she'd be good at it.
I think she will too, for sure. Absolutely. We got Skip Dowling is watching. I hope I said that right. Skip, boss man, Skip, dude. Appreciate you, Skip, for me spending time with Burch today on the podcast. I really appreciate it, man.
And for this beautiful space.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing but love to you, Skip. And maybe in the future, Skip, it'd be an honor to have you on. So
he's got good stories too. He's got a really cool story of how he started Orient Express and K-Tech. And
dude, yeah, listen, I remember Orient Express, dude. I would love to sit down with Skip, but we can get into all that.
Employees here that probably as long as I've been here that he's still working with. So people like working with you if they're with you that long. So he's been awesome.
It's absolutely a fact. That's that just tells a lot about Skip as a human being too.
Oh yeah, great dude. Best boss I've ever had. So
that's what I'm saying.
Night and day difference flip. So I'm liking this a lot more than anything else.
I love it, dude. I freaking love it, dude. Let me ask you this, Burch. Are you a pineapple on pizza guy?
Oh yeah. I like pineapple with pepperoni though, because I don't like a lot of ham. So I'll switch it up and put it with the pepperoni.
Yeah, I like that. I don't eat a lot of ham, pork neither, right? To me, it's like super salty.
Unless
every
it's
once
bacon.
in a while.
Anything bacon, I'm down.
Yeah, bacon. But when I do, so one of my wife's favorite meals, which I like to cook. So that's a question I ask all the time. So we'll just go ahead and get into that. Are you a cooker? I like to cook home meals. I get it from my mom. My mom always makes everything. So I make my own marinara and all that.
Nah, if I cook, I'll buy the marinara. Like I do have my famous chicken parm that I make, and I have a few sauces that I like to secretly combine for that. But honestly, man, I love eating out. It's hard. Like me and my girlfriend and even my roommate, and we're all talking about like, we got to stop eating out. Like it's just crazy. But we got a lot of good food, and traveling a lot makes it hard, right? So when I'm traveling, I'm not cooking, but when I'm home, usually I'm not cooking unless I'm with her, So if I'm on my own, I'm heating something up, or I'm going out to get something, or she does a lot of that, and she's good at it. So I'll help where I can, but it's not like I can't cook whereas some people can just go in there and throw it in. I got to have my recipe, and I got to have the measurements, I got to have my spec card here. I'm treating it like a shot.
He's like, I need a little bit more preload to this marinara sauce.
Yeah, a little bit more. Yeah, so
a little less high speed compression.
Sprinkle it in.
Dude.
A little magic in there. So yeah.
Right. I'm laughing at Jessica too. Jessica says, and we got a brand new 2024 Super Duke for our first anniversary.
No, you didn't.
Dude, congratulations. Y'all be just as expensive as us, baby doll. Don't get it twisted. And that's a fact.
So
Jessica.
Before I left, I let that couple take my GS out. So you know what that means, Jessica. I'm coming for that Super Duke. My test ride is whenever I get home. Let's go.
I love it. That's been a bike actually on my bucket list. Is I would love to my next street bike, when I get one, will be a 1290, a 1390 Super Duke, or an Aprilia Tuono, a Street Fighter style bike for sure.
That's another guy that I can't forget. Shout out to Jeff. That's like my track day homie. Anytime I'm going to the track, he's like, I'm down, let's go. And he's got an R1. So that's his race bike. And now he's finally got a street bike, so we can go cruise the Parkway or wherever. I guess not the Parkway now, but somewhere.
I love it, man. I love it. All right. Do you I listen to a lot of audiobooks, bro. Do you listen to any audiobooks at all?
Sometimes I will. I'll listen to a podcast before I do. You ever listen to Ken Hill?
Of course. Ken Hill's an
I love some Ken Hill. So that's something I'll actually listen to multiple times. Before I got my K-Tech job, I listened to him a lot, and I would sit on my bike and take notes, and that's something I like to do to pass the time, I guess, like winter time, really, when it's cold, you can't ride. That's what I would do, and take notes and just think about stuff differently. So I really like his podcast. There's a few other podcasts I listen to, some of the MotoAmerica stuff here and there. but no books per se. Like I don't really, if I'm reading something, it's technical information. I don't really read for fun, I would say, but I don't know. Maybe if it interested me, yes, because I used to be into books, being younger. But I don't know.
I listen to, obviously, if any motorcycle legend has an audiobook, I got it. I listen to it. The one that I recommend, they're all good, they're all beautiful, but dude, you got to listen to John Hopkins Leathered. It
Okay.
is.
I've heard that. That's a
dude.
good one.
I'm telling you, bro, you have got to. I listen to a shit. Oh, we lost Burch. Hang on. Burch will jump back in here in a minute. We lost him. But yeah, I listened to, dude, listen, you guys need to jump on John Hopkins Leathered. I'm telling you, it's absolutely an amazing book. It's one of the best ones for sure. Here he is. He come back in.
There might be.
I love it.
But no, Leathered is probably good. John Hopkins is. I'm sure that's a good one. Joe Roberts is a ripper. I met him at Laguna a couple times, and gosh, it's funny when you see that guy in the crowd. Unless you know who he is, you wouldn't think that. Oh my gosh, this guy is lightning fast. One of the best Americans doing it over there ever. And he's super chill, just hanging out, like not walking around like this. I like Joe because he's like that. But man, John's been through some stuff. He was a ripper too.
Yeah, dude. Listen, all I'm saying is get the audiobook, throw your earbuds in, turn it up on the road trip wherever you're driving to, man, and listen to it because it's freaking absolutely amazing. Podcast, man. I listen to a lot of podcasts, obviously too, right? Tell people what podcast you listen to or something, or can recommend one to somebody.
So I like the Ken Hill one. If you just search Ken Hill podcast, it'll come up. But he's got a cool little image where it's like his two L's are red line, blue line. So I bet you guys who are online remember the whole red line or blue line thing. And he does a little bit of everything. So he kind of starts out talking about bikes and track riding or racing, and then he talks about certain scenarios on the track, wet riding, stuff like that. And then he even brings people on. So I think he's brought on some suspension people or some riders or racers, and he'll have specific questions loaded for them. And I think he has people riding questions too, but it's always just interesting to hear about because he works with so many racers, having a race school, track day school. That's probably the only podcast I really listen to, man. Like other than that, I'm blasting music or just out riding. So I need to get into that more. Now you're making me think about it. Maybe I don't.
I love it.
I don't have enough time, maybe, but on the plane is good. That's a good idea. If you got a recommendation other than Leathered, send it over. Send it to me or Chris, and it doesn't have to be moto related. We'll see what it is.
Yeah, dude, listen, I got a lot of audiobooks, so I'll definitely give you some recommendations. But another podcast I recommend you listen to is, I don't know if you guys heard it yet, but it's called Pin the Gas Podcast. So you guys should definitely tune in and listen to that one.
Come on. Hey, that one doesn't count because we're on it right now.
I know. I'm just messing with you, man. I'm messing with you. That's
I like watching the Pin the Gas. I definitely watch those, and I'll listen to them if I miss the live. But I like to get to the lives of especially the people that I know or done contacts with. So, it's always cooler to watch. You've done a few of my dealers, a few racers, so I watch a lot of those guys.
I love it, man. I love it. Dude, so I'm a big Star Wars fan, right? So are you a Star Wars fan too as well?
Well, yeah. Used to love Star Wars as a kid. Have all the little figurines. I got the pod racers and the spaceships. Actually, last year, the year before when I went to Disney World, I would nerd it out and I built my own lightsaber. So I went in the room. I got a 15-minute high def video of me going in and picking out the handle and the hilt and the color and putting the stone in and all that. So yeah, I'm not a huge nerd of it, but I always wanted one, when I'd go there. And then I'm like, gosh, $250. Like I'll never make that, when you're 12 years old or something. And then when you're there as an adult, you're like, yeah, I got $400 to spend. I'm going to spend half that on a lightsaber and then skip dinner.
Right. I'd have done the same thing, man. Absolutely. I'm a dude. I got a lot of lightsabers. I ain't gonna lie. I'm actually getting ready to buy my son. I think it's a Neo Pixel lightsaber. It's like, $300. It does all this shit. It's really cool. Yes, Dakari, the Oakley Boom MotoGP podcast is a good one also.
Oh,
Dakari. Yes, that one is good too.
Dakari did put me on. I shouldn't have forgot about that. Yeah.
Him, and I like my Australian mates, I've had all three of them on my podcast from MotoPG. They're from Australia. They're awesome. I listen to Brothers in Christ, which is off track here, but my good mate Dave Neal has a podcast in the UK that's also called Off Track Podcast, and where he does obviously BSB and in the TT and the Macau and all that good stuff. So that's
that'd be
one.
cool. I want to listen to
recommend.
the TT because K-Tech is huge in the TT. Everyone in the TT is on K-Tech, and they go every year and support it. And man, I got to get over there. Yeah, I got to.
Dude, bro, that's my dream trip.
Hey, next time I'm coming.
Dude, that's on my bucket list. I'm definitely going to make it to the TT. I even told my wife, when I kick the bucket, burn me, fly me over to the TT and just wherever. It don't matter where it is. Let me go, baby. Yeah. Even if I never make it, at least I made it, right? My final destination, we'll say. It's my favorite race of the year. Everybody knows that listens to me. It's
they got a really good documentary online. The TT. If you look up Isle of Man TT, I think it's IOMTT Racing or something. Just Google it. And they got a really cool. All you got to do to watch the series is create an account. It's free, but they do a really sick series on just the Isle of Man and the week of the Isle of Man. I think it's 7 or 8 episodes.
Between the Hedges is one of them.
Between the Hedges was one last year, right?
Yep.
And then there's I forgot what the new one was called, but man, you see K-Tech all over the place. So it's cool being like, hey, I know that guy, or like, hey, there's our service truck. And seeing the winner, obviously Davey Todd, he's on K-Tech for now and BSB, and he is a ripper. He is absolutely. I mean, I'd like to meet him, but obviously showing out on the TRDS stuff and repping it for us. So yeah, he's cool.
Quick story: when I went to BSB at Cadwell Park, I was standing there, and my buddy, my mate that picked me up, that I stayed with, I told him the whole time, I was like, dude, I was disappointed when Davey Todd wasn't there. Davey Todd wasn't racing that weekend. I was like, shit, I don't get to meet Davey Todd. So anyway, it's Sunday. My mate Dave Neal got me passes to where I was actually on the grid, on hot grid with all the BSB guys, right? And I'm standing there, and my buddy Daniel leans over my ear. He says, "You're never going to believe this, Simcoe." And I lean over, and I'm like, "What's that, bro?" He says, "Davey Todd standing behind you." I look at him. I said, "Shut the fuck up, dude," because he knew, like, I really wanted to meet Davey Todd. And I turn around, and boom, it's the freaking legend himself, Davey Todd, dude. So, yeah, you could imagine.
That's awesome.
I schoolgirled out real quick, right? I ain't going, it's Davey Todd, you know. I'm sorry, no. But anyway, yeah, man, we had a great conversation for like 15 minutes. Met his girlfriend. He was with Milwaukee BMW at the time, which he's not with no more.
Oh, that bike was so sick looking.
Yeah, it was.
Yes, that thing looked amazing.
It was Davey's cool as shit, dude. But it was just, he's my man, dude. I got a Todd hat, dude. Everybody knows I'm a freaking huge Davey Todd fan. So yeah, big shout out to Davey Todd. Got his first win at the TT this year. It's freaking cool, boy. Won the super stock title in BSB this year. Man, I can go on and on about some Davey Todd for sure. And BSB. Let me ask you this, bro. If you can invite any 3 people to a track day, dead or alive, right? What 3 people would you invite to your private track day?
Is that anybody anywhere?
Anywhere. It could be Valentino Rossi. It could be Benjamin Franklin. Whoever you want to invite to your track day.
Oh man, so that's a hard question though, because then it's like, hey, do I want to go ride and do I want to learn, or do I want to go out there with like Channing Tatum and blow his doors off or something?
That's up to you. It's your track day.
Oh man, if it's me and whoever I want at the track, that's really hard. That's hard to say. I'm gonna say. If I'm thinking just fun, right? Purely fun. I don't want to learn. I don't want to go do anything. So I'm not going to pick any racers or anything, but I think I'd go with my boy Jeff, who you just saw, him and Jessica commenting on. And then also Sammy Pinheiro. You know, Sammy, I introduced you guys. I think, or you guys had met. I sent you his Facebook.
Yep.
And then the last one, man, I don't know. You know what? Skip.
There you go.
I like to go with Skip. There we go.
I love it, man. Well, saying that, let me ask you this. If Burch had his own MotoAmerica Superbike team, okay, you didn't ride, you own this team, what manufacturer of a motorcycle would you have, and who's the 2 current riders you would put on your team right now?
Superbike.
And you can pick any riders out of the paddock. You can pick somebody from Junior Cup or Super Sport or whoever.
Well, you know what? That's hard. I don't know. That's really hard. I don't know if I'm allowed to answer. And can I answer?
They'd be on K-Tech suspension, of course, but the manufacturer and the 2 riders you'd put on.
I mean, I'd probably say right now, I mean, it's hard not to be intrigued with the BMW. I don't want the Ducati headache, but those are fast too. Probably BMW, I think. And then I put, let's just go with stock 1000 champion back-to-back, Hayden Gillum. He's going to be my first rider. And then, second rider, I'm not sure. I'll probably put Mark on the other bike and see how he does.
Mark Jung, dude, I love it, dude. He's an absolute legend. I'd put Mark on mine too, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, but I want to name everyone, right? Like I want to say Jackson, or I want to say Eli Block, or I want to say Jake.
All my friends, yeah, I do too.
You know, I want to say everybody, but I don't know. I'd put myself on there or you on there. I don't know. That's a good one. I should have thought more about that.
I got asked that question, Burch. This was my answer. Of course, I want to put all my friends on everything, right?
Yeah.
But somebody asked me that question. I would roll with Kawasaki because they're not in there, right? We need Kawasaki back in the paddock, so that would be another manufacturer in, right? And the 2 current riders that I would put on the Kawasaki from Superbike right now would be my man Brandon Posh and SDK. Those would be my 2 riders on my Kawasaki MotoAmerica race team right now. That's what I would run.
Yeah. Posh, another good one. Another
Posh is a legend.
Person I've met and been a friend through passing and just knowing each other at the track. And I'd love to ride with him and learn some stuff too. So he's another good one. And he's great with social media. I like how he pushes that, because all the kids now are on their phone instead of out riding. So when they see him posting his cool videos, I hope they get out and ride. I hope it makes them want to go out there and like participate.
Oh, 110%. But yeah, I'm like you, dude.
He's a ripper.
My buddy Rohan actually interviewed me on my podcast last week. I think it was his idea, which I thought was a brilliant idea. And he asked me, who my favorite riders are, because that's a question I ask typically to people too, right? And if I'm talking strictly MotoGP, of course, the GOAT, Valentino Rossi, Nicky Hayden, Marcus Simoncelli. Those are my 3 top MotoGP racers, right? Now, when it comes to all the other racing, it's all my friends that race, whether it's MotoAmerica, BSB, ASBK, the DT, wherever it is. All my friends, from Ryan Wolf to whoever, they're all my favorites.
Ryan Wolf, how could I forget him? Shout out to Ryan Wolf.
Big shout
out
to
him and his fam, and his mom's always cooking us good food and being like
the banana nut bread. Yes, dude, me too. Every time, dude. Matter of fact, I walked by. I think I was at Jersey. Was it Jersey? Yeah, I walked by Jersey and she gave me 2 hash browns and a sausage thing, and so I was sitting there.
She makes some good quesadillas and tacos and
her banana nut
bread. I like hanging out with them at the track because I know I'm fed. Then I don't have to go worry about it.
Right? I know. I love it, dude. Well, that I can say that, man. Like Steve Grigg's good at feeding me all the time too, man. I just got so many friends that are just so good to me that I'm such an honor and blessed to have friends like that. You know what I mean? My wife's friend was calling her come to the computer for some reason. But anyway, man, listen, dude, we're an hour.
What else I would take to the track? Toprak.
Top dude.
He seems like the type of guy that, he wouldn't go out there and just bust your ass. He'd be doing some crazy, I don't know, stoppies beside you, or like dragging an elbow with one hand or something. I don't know. He'd be fun to like ride with and maybe even learn from. So, and he's a tall, lanky guy, kind of like me, but he is just, watching that guy ride is insane. I love seeing his control.
He's a legend, dude. And I've heard stories about Toprak from a good buddy of mine that's ridden with Toprak before.
No way. Yeah, that'd be.
Yeah. It's
all those guys are just next level. I mean, everyone even in MotoAmerica is too, right? But when we see them on TV versus seeing someone in person, you're always like, whoa, like that's seeing him do a 90-yard stoppie or something. I bet in person is just nuts.
Dude, absolutely, right? Yeah. And the way he just rides that front, dude, it's like Let me ask you this, man, because we're not going to stay on here too much longer because we'll save the rest of it for our part two. But, dude, who do you want to win the title in MotoGP, man? Are you Petco trained or are you Martin trained?
I don't know. It's hard. It's hard for me. I'm not like super into it where I care a ton, but I think I'd like to see Martin win.
Me too. I would
Yeah.
too. I want to. There's several reasons behind it. Pecco's did it twice, right? So let's let somebody else do it. Martin for one reason because Ducati did him dirty, man. He should have got that.
Yeah.
Just in my personal opinion, he should already
Like,
have.
I want him to come back and be like, "Hey, see this? I don't need it. I just won with pure talent."
Right, and then so I want to see him win because of that. I also want to see him win because it'll be the first independent team in MotoGP in the new era to win, and I want to see him say a big "F you" to Ducati by taking the #1 plate to Aprilia and running that in their face. Right? It's all that combination into one. Plus, yeah, man, he's fast, dude. So hopefully, if he keeps his head cool and out of his own way, because once he gets in his own way, it's over. Right? So.
Yeah. And that's why Rossi's the GOAT, right? Like you said, like Rossi's the GOAT because he lived through both eras. He was on like 500 GP bikes and then, everything we have today with the electronics. And he won in both series. I mean, he won everything. So he's still the GOAT in my opinion.
Dude, always be the GOAT.
No hate to market anything, but Rossi, he was a different animal, man. That was one of those, again, God-given talents where you can't teach that. Like that guy is just insane.
I tell everybody, man, like Valentino Rossi, he made MotoGP where it is today, meaning the whole sport. He grew the whole sport, okay, which nobody else has done. Okay, not only that, he was. You're right. The 500 GP two-stroke air, the 250s, the 125s, the first year of the 990s, then the 800s, then back to the 1000s, and then here we go with all advancement in electronics, ride height device, all that shit with the wings, dude. He had to constantly evolutionize his riding style, his body position, the whole nine, just to keep up with all these younger sharks in the water, right? So, it's absolute GOAT. Rod to Death says, believe I read Matt Mladen post that he likes more spring and less dampening. It sounds like other guys like the opposite. Can you elaborate on that? So it's a question for you, Burch. I'll read it again. Rod to Death says, I believe I read Matt Mladen post that he likes more spring and less dampening. Sounds like other guys like the opposite. Can you elaborate on that?
So he's probably talking more internally. So earlier when I was talking about preload and softer or harder, I meant just the spring, right? So take the valving out of the equation, take the shock out of the equation. For a standard sport bike, we might say, hey, a 90 Newton spring works for 160 to 185 pound rider. So me at 175, I might like a 90 and it might fit me in my sag range if that's something I want to do. Because once you get to a certain speed, especially like MotoAmerica speeds, obviously, even some club speeds, sag will start to go out the window. Like it's not as relevant as once you get going really, really fast and you get data and everything. So that's all just personal preference. Now, when he's talking about, you said he likes more spring and less damping.
Yeah.
So that would be like, say, I like a lighter spring. So if the shock for me comes with a 95, I'm putting a 90 on it, but I might put 3 or 4 more turns of preload on it, right? Because I like the feel of that. So I'm feeling the spring a little bit more, but I'm not changing the damping. Probably what he's saying is, okay, we went up, a couple of rates in spring, and then we went inside and we made the hydraulics a lot softer. So if you were to look at a curve, right, a damping curve, if you were to put a shock on a dyno, depending on where the clickers are, it'll, stouter or shorter. What do you want? You want more or less? You want the valve open or closed? That's really all it comes down to. So he probably is saying he rode a stiffer spring, but then to compensate, they would go in and change the valving a little bit. But there is also a crossover with that, mathematically or mechanically, that something that I can't compute. That's more of, the wizard guys, you could say, the whizzes that are doing all the settings and the changing of the valving, because once you get to a certain point, you can't have such light valving that'll overcome the spring or vice versa. You can't just slap a very stiff spring on a shock and then it feel the best. So it's a little bit more of tuning. But a guy like Matt Mladen, racing, doing pro stuff, I'm sure they had their own tips or tricks that they did to his bike that no one will ever know. So, like I said earlier, someone might have the same bikes. This guy might love 15 miller preload. This guy might never do more than 10, but they got the same times. And then the clickers are usually a little different. And that has to do with if the valve setting is different.
That also goes to everybody has their own unique riding style and what they want the bike to feel like and how they like it to feel like, right? So the rider might not, it's again, what I said earlier, the most important thing, all Burch is trying to do in the rider is get the best feel out of those two black round things that we call Dunlop tires, right? And whoever can generate the most grip and have that feel is probably going to win the race, right? So that's the whole scheme of it. But everybody has their own preference on what they like.
Stiffer, and that's just with the rider. So it's like easier to know what Hayden likes versus if someone just comes up to me, and say, hey, I need help. I don't feel confident. All this stuff is happening. But that's hard because you can't just be like, oh, add some preload or, oh, add this. You really got to get a list of events of what's happening, where it's happening. And a lot of track day guys will be like, hey, I'm bottoming. That's the biggest thing I hear about the forks. Hey, I'm bottoming. Like, check it out. And we'll put a telltale on the inner tube so you can see where your travel is, max travel around the track. And I tell guys, man, every session I come in or every race we do, it comes in bottomed, but I don't feel it. So without your telltale on your fork, would you know that you bottomed, or are you only knowing you bottomed because you look at it? And 90% of the time they're like, yeah, I guess you're right. And then I say, well, don't touch it, because you want to be at bottom at some point, right? Like, you want to use all the suspension because that's how you turn, but you don't want it to be like too much. You don't want to be moving around too much. So it's got to be stable, but it also has to, every corner is different. It has to handle every corner just as good. But a lot of times guys will be like, I can sacrifice this corner. Like, I just need it to feel better here. And they'll hop a curb or hit a bump different or straighten up different, or they'll make a change just to make another place better. And usually that's something that's connected, right? So it's cool to see them do that and like understand how they like their setup, but then how it's going to dictate to when they ride that track. Like, if they hit the same bump in the same spot and this guy's a ton more preload, he's probably going to feel it a lot more, and it's going to be a little stiffer. Whereas the other guy might take a little bit different line and might allow him to have a little bit more movement. Elevation is a big thing too. Like, a lot of people with elevation, they'll change up their spring or change up the preload just because of how the bike weights and unloads and such. But I'm definitely not there yet. I'm playing with preloads and seeing how it feels, and then trying to, get that feedback from when I'm working with people and understanding what, like, oh yeah, I felt that before. Oh, I understand what he's saying, because here on the data, it says this. So it's just always changing, man. And it's hard because you can never go in. I always hated, like, my old shop. Like, they would always say, like, this is the setup. You need to do this setup. If you're not riding this setup and it doesn't feel good, you're not going fast enough. And I don't really believe in that. I believe everyone's different and everyone can take a little bit of tuning knowledge to know what they want. Because then if you can tell someone what you want or tell the tuner what you're looking for, you can at least test, right? Like I said, you either go one of two directions, and you got to start somewhere. And if it's good, all right, keep going. If it's bad, just go back. And then you just, boom, step back to where the opposite of what you would have done. So it takes some setup. And it's hard just doing that in like one day at the track with a guy, or one weekend with a new team or a new rider that's like, hey, we're doing this round and this is what we got going on. Because then if I have no knowledge of it, the list of questions is like, pretty extensive to understand.
Oh yeah, there's always a method to the madness, right? And touching on the front bottoming out, you're right. You want the front to just bottom out and use up all your suspension, but you don't want it to be too soft to where you're bottom out so much now your front tire is acting like suspension because the front's solid all the way down, but then again, it's all suspensions is such a beautiful art, and there's always plus to minuses. And like Burch said, if you caught on to that, it's the higher, faster you go, preload. I mean, sagging all that goes out the window. Then you talk about shim stacks and oil levels and thicknesses and just, dude, all that little intricate stuff that it goes along with it. Suspension's awesome, man. It's
cool.
It's great, dude. It's great stuff, man. Dude, this has been a lot of fun. Burch, we're an hour, almost 45 into this. Let's go.
Yeah, are we?
Yeah,
let's-
dude. I told you it's gonna go by like this, right? So listen, I'm gonna
Right.
save the rest of the questions for later. First thing I want to say, I'm gonna let Burch in the podcast, but I just want to say thanks everybody for watching the podcast. I love every single one of you. If you guys have not yet, please go to my Podbean, my YouTube, my Facebook, my Instagram, my freaking Spotify, all that good stuff. Hit that like and subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. Big shout out to all my sponsors on this list, man. Next Level Financial for all your financial needs. Bison Track for the best leathers there is. Not saying that any other leathers are not just as good. What I'm saying is that they're always there at the racetrack. And it don't matter if you're in a Revit or a freaking Technique or whatever it is, you can go to Bison if you have a mishap and they'll fix you and get you sorted so you can go back out to your next qualified practice, whatever it is. You won't get that from nobody else. So bisontrack.com. Big shout out to Chef Eats. Dude, I'm telling you, Burch, I tell everybody that, man. And dude, Chef Eats, my man Jeff serving, dude, best food in the
Get
business.
on his website. Order his meals. He is the man. He is pushing stuff in the sport for us. Come on. We got a good one here, boys. Let's keep him going.
We do. And it's like, don't bring a grill and charcoal and the gas and all that. Just bring a microwave. That's all you
Yeah,
need,
don't eat that
right?
hamburger and fries because you know you're not going out after lunch again.
Bro. Facts, right?
Eat Jeff's food, man. You guys will not be disappointed. I promise. Just try it one time. When you're at the track with him, just go try it one time.
Chef Eats.
The man.
Dude, listen. So big shout out to Chef Eats, Flying Eyes Optics, most amazing sunglasses out there ever. They're made to wear underneath motorcycle helmets. You can also get them prescription. It's a new sponsorship I got. Dude, look at these arms right here. They're actually assembled and made in Austin, Texas.
I need that because I'm always breaking them.
Dude, bro, I'm telling you, dude, Flying Eyes Optics, dude, but me and you will chat. But Flying Eyes Optics, use the discount code PINTHEGAS10. You get 10% off. Big shout out to SFL Mini GP, Jersey, and Florida. Best program we have in America for raising our futures. Legends of our sport. All you got to do is look at Junior Cup and Super Sport in MotoAmerica. That's where they're all coming from. Not even just them. Brandon Posh, dude. Gus Rodeo. Listen, Anthony Mazziato. Dude, Isaac, freaking Avery and Ella. Dude, the list goes on and on.
Can't forget them.
No, you cannot. To all my friends, right? Dude, if I sat here and gave everybody a shout out, it'd be like another 30 minutes, right? So
I know that's how I feel. I'm hoping I got everyone, but I'm sure I forgot some people.
That's why I always say, man, you guys know who you are, girls. I love every single one of you guys, right? Dude, RD Racing, Vet2 Tracks, all my veterans out there. My buddy Jim Whitman has a program called Vet2 Track where he tackles PSTD one lap at a time, right? Amazing program.
I've seen them on
Dude, bro, I run them on my shirts and on my leathers. Big shout out to 64 Degree Racing, my man Tate. Sent me a 2-piece undersuit. And track day junkies such as ourselves and races out there, we have a lot more than just one undersuit. We need them, right? Because we get out there and we hustle, we muscle, we sweat, we come back in, we change, we go put it back on the next day. We didn't bring another one. You go, woo, baby, I think I ain't gonna wear no undersuit today, right? So listen, but the 2-piece undersuit I got from 64 Degree Racing, hands down, is my favorite one. So big shout out to them. If anybody's looking for,
they're made for that, guys. Get that. Don't buy Nike and Under Armour and stuff. Get that actual motorcycle specific undersuit. Slide in and out easy. Wick the sweat away.
Bro, it's imperative. I try to tell people, right? I do. If anybody wants to order anything, dude, Sport Bike Track Time, STG. Don't go anywhere else. Don't order anything else, especially off the line. Brian Van and dude, they're just the most amazing people. Awesome, funny, hilarious, and dude, we got to support our family. So nothing but love and support. So if anybody needs to order anything, STG, don't order it from nobody else. Also, I need everybody go on here, go to Road Racing World and go to the Road Racing Fund and donate for the air fence. It's imperative. That's the reason why we go racing. Without that air fence, probably a lot of tracks wouldn't be able to go to, right? Without that air fence. So what they're doing is absolutely amazing. And if you show up and you donate, man, you might be lucky to get a 2-up ride with the legend himself, Chris Ulrich, right? Which I want to do one day.
That'd be crazy.
Bro, right? Yeah, absolutely. And listen, big shout out to Karn's Performance. My buddy Jason Karn has a dealership in Pennsylvania. One of the best guys you're ever going to meet. So anybody in the market for a dirt bike or any of that, not suspension, but tuning, because he does the ECUs and all that. Look no further.
He's got some K-Tech here and there.
Okay,
got
there you go. Okay, there you go. What up, Philip Hart? My man's in the house.
Oh,
Yeah,
Philip, what's good?
dude, Philip's my dude, man.
I
But
need,
yeah,
to, I need to hit him back up. I hope
Bro.
racing's going good.
that dude, he's a legend. Of course, it's going good, right? Yeah. I actually we texted each other the other day. So, but yeah, listen, that's all I have. Again, thanks everybody. This episode will be out on Spotify tomorrow. If you ended up catching the tail end, you go to my YouTube as soon as I end this and rewatch it, or on my Facebook. But before we get off here, Burch, tell everybody where they can find you, how they can, all that good stuff. Your thank yous, your all that.
Oh man, I know I'm having a thank you list. Like I said earlier, there's so many people that have helped me in this sport and in this industry, and I can't name them all. I wish I would have taken some more time to prepare and just had a list. So those that I named, I mean, I appreciate you guys, and those who I didn't name, you guys know who you are because we talk constantly. You know, I got a lot of friends that are just coming to mind, and guys like my friend at Kawasaki, Yohai, that's my guy. Guys, girls like Chloe, you know, doing the AIM stuff, and she helps me in her free time. There's just so many people. Like I can't even begin to make a list of the thank yous to everybody. So next time we talk, I'm going to have that. That's going to be my ending. But yeah, I mean, essentially you can find me anywhere K-Tech is located. Our new website's up and going, www.ktechsuspensionusa.com, all lowercase, no hyphens, no spaces. You can surf around there. We have hundreds and thousands of parts for any bike, literally anything. Or you can hit me up on Facebook, Instagram. I'm running the K-Tech USA pages for that, so you can shoot us a direct message. You can also shoot me an email, just Burch, B-U-R-C-H, obviously ktechsuspensionusa.com domain. Yeah, and then if you want to follow me personally, B Wadewitz is my Instagram, and I don't do too much posting on that, but I do have a little channel that me and some local guys have kind of started, and we got a lot of cool footage to share. So maybe we'll make that a winter project and something I can update you with. But all things K-Tech, man, anything USA, hit me up. I'm glad to help you guys. We got almost 13 or 1,400 dealers across North America. So we got a lot of good people to help you out. A lot of people that I've met personally. Yeah, I just want to grow this brand because we got great product and I want to show it off. And next time, me and Christian will clean up the shop so I can walk through. I'll show you guys how it works at a distribution.
I love it. I love it. One more thing before I get off here. My man, the Clothing King. So my man Martin out there in the UK, he makes all my merch out there in the UK. So if you guys want to buy any Pin the Gas merch, you go to theclothingkings.co. .uk. Yeah, so there you go, man. He's absolutely
That's awesome.
amazing.
I like that shirt. That's a high quality one you gave me. So,
dude, bro, yeah, right. So, dude, you got a shirt, Burch, right? What did I give you, the black one or the pink one? The black one.
That's right. I think I got the pink.
Oh, yeah. You did, dude. I love the pink. I rock.
I got the pink. It's bright.
Bro. I love it, dude. That's there's a method to the madness. I like pink too, but it's something like, dude, because if I'm walking to the paddock, it's like your eyes automatically go to this bright, freaking shirt.
And your shoes, you had the shoes to match too. That was fire. Matching Michaela Moore. So another one of our K-Tech girls. So.
Yeah, Kayla's a legend, right? Her and Will and her mom, dude. Yeah, absolutely. But we could go on, Burch, right? For sure. But yeah, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get off here. I hope every one of y'all's Tuesday was filled with family, love, laughter, and proper mega wheelies. Stay tuned for the MotoGP race this weekend. Let's go, Jorge Martin. If you're Team Pecco, hey, I'm sorry, but Martin's going to take it, right? But listen, it's been an absolute honor. Ladies and gentlemen,
and as you know, if you're at the track, just like Chris, you guys come see me. Come say, hey, track day, MotoAmerica, club race, whatever it is. If you see K-Tech or you see us over there, come say, hey. If I can help with anything, I'm here. We got to ride together soon.
We will 100%. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you need any suspension work done at all, K-Tech, baby, let's go. USA.
I'll find your way.
Absolutely. But ladies and gentlemen, absolute honor to sit down with the legend himself, Burch Wadewitz, baby. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, let me end this. Bro, that was a lot of fun. I told you it would be.
That was long. That was longer than I thought it'd be for sure. So,
I mean, we just kept going.